Hello, my name is Marcus Biaggi, and today I'm going to be talking about the literary memoir book I chose to read. The book I chose is titled Carli Lloyd When Nobody Was Watching. It is co-written by a man named Wayne Coffey, who is one of the best acclaimed sports journalists in New York, who has won various awards as a sports writer for the New York Daily News. This book made the New York Times bestseller list when it was published in 2016. The main reason why I chose this book is mainly due to the fact it is about soccer. Right underneath the main title, you can see it states, "My hard-fought journey to the top of the soccer world." This stood out to me. As some of you may already know, I play soccer, so this book was an obvious choice at hand for me to take notice to, as it is about a sport I love to play and watch. However, this book isn't just for soccer players or athletes in general. It's for everyone. It's about overcoming obstacles and learning how to become the best person you can be, which I believe everyone can relate to. Okay, so to start things off, who is Carli Lloyd? Carli Lloyd is a female soccer player who is co-captain of the US women's soccer national team. The book revolves around Carli Lloyd's journey to the top as she presents to the reader firsthand from her experiences what it was like from day one to make it all the way to playing on the national team. She does this in a very good way as well, as each chapter of the book is one step further into her journey along the way. Within the first page of the book, you can see the very first words are piercing out to the reader in all capitals so that she gets her message across. These words are "I don't do fake." She goes on to say, "That's the first thing you should know about me. I'm not one to put on airs or change my demeanor, depending on where I am or who I am talking to. I do not much care about the red carpet or being on the cover of magazines. I don't put on makeup when I'm getting ready for a game, because why would I? I am gearing up for battle." Having saying these things right at the beginning of the book really stood out to me and showed that she is very serious about her soccer career. She even goes on to describe how she would never go out to parties like some of her teammates and would rather choose to train and exercise instead. She has even rejected countless offers for photo shoots and even from Dancing with the Stars. Soccer and only soccer is the only thing she wants to be associated with and known for. I respect her for that. It again shows just how serious she is with her career, as all of her hard work and dedication is being put towards the sport she loves. In the first chapter of the book called Beginnings, we get a good look at what life is like for Carli growing up. She was born in 1982 in New Jersey and began playing soccer when she was 5 years old. Throughout elementary school, Carli didn't want to be known as a girly girl. She didn't own any Barbies and didn't like to wear skirts or dresses to school, but instead preferred to wear sportswear. She also mentioned how she would like to mow the lawn at her house as it would make her feel like her father. Overall, with all of this being said, she was a really tough girl growing up. As the years continued on, Carli would spend countless hours at a field close to her house practicing her soccer skills and playing pickup games with other people for fun. She mentions in the book how she would love to train with older people at this field, as it provided more of a challenge for her and ultimately made her better each day. Carli continued training every single day and eventually became a star player for Delrana High School on the high school soccer team. She was named twice as the girls' high school player of the year. Carli eventually wanted to gain some more recognition for her soccer abilities, so as she moved up in age into her late teens, she decided to try out for the New Jersey Olympic Development Program. This program is an identification camp made up of only the highest skilled players from 13 states. Carli makes it into the program but has some trouble with her confidence level. She uses a very creative method of dialogue in the book, which truly showed me what her character is like. She introduces the reader into her mind and thought process during her moments at this identification camp, which gives good insight to how Carli is as a person. She goes on to say in the book, "You can do it if you keep getting better and work harder than everybody else," one voice inside me says. "You've got no shot. You're not even as good as Joanna Lawman and Sue Flamini," another voice says. I learned from this dialogue representing her inner thoughts that Carli was not the most confident player growing up, as she was put down in a way by the other players in the program. She constantly had these two voices battling over one another in her head, and she didn't like it. Like fencers on a strip, swords raised, the voices keep dueling. I know which one I want to listen to. From this statement, Carli obviously points out that she wants to listen to the voice that is praising her soccer abilities. However, she can't seem to get rid of the second negating voice. From these inner thoughts expressed and the brief response she made to them, I was able to piece together why the second negative voice even exists. In this case, it's quite obvious that she has a problem of comparing herself to others, when really she should be focusing on herself. She states that this was a big learning lesson for her, and she left me with the statement, "To compare is to despair." Which is something I completely agree with. As for my years of playing soccer, I have done a lot of comparing myself. With any athlete, comparing yourself to another athlete you're competing against does you no good. I remember at tryouts I would put myself down for no reason, saying in my head that all the other players were better than me because they were taller, quicker, stronger, and so on. In the end, it's no good. It does you no favors. All you need to do is just focus in on the moment and erase all the comparing thoughts you're having. Just play the game. Carly did an excellent job of reminding this to me. Despite having lack of confidence in herself, Carli Lloyd was surprised to find out that Rutgers University of New Jersey was interested in her. She ended up playing very well at the development program and got the recognition she needed. She became the university's all-time leading scorer and the first player in school history to earn first-team all-conference honors for 4 consecutive years. Carly soon advanced even more as she then made the United States U21 national team in 2003 near the end of her year at Rutgers University. However, just after a couple of training sessions, Carly was cut from the team. The coach that cut her was named Chris Petrucelli, and he told her straight up that she was not national team level as she didn't defend well enough and work hard enough. She explains in the book that she was furious at him and wanted to tell him that he took away her dream of eventually playing for the national team. But she then described from her future perspective that this man played a huge key role in her success today. This is due to the fact after this moment in time, Carly reached out to a close family friend of hers named James Galanis. James Galanis is an Australian-born professional soccer manager, and he was friends with Carly's father growing up. He is a very knowledgeable soccer trainer. Galanis trained Carly to become better. He ultimately broke her down and then built her up again. He didn't just work on her body after she was cut, he worked on her mind. And that may have been the most important step in Lloyd's transition from an undisciplined university athlete to one of the most clutch players in women's soccer. She says in the book, "He would spend time with me to take me into the mind of some of the greatest athletes that have ever lived, such as Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, Wayne Gretzky, and Diego Maradona. And he would make the connections that these athletes loved to play under pressure and thrived in it. When pressure surfaced, their game went to the next level and they kept breaking barriers until they won." James's main goal was to switch Carly's mindset to this, which in a few months he eventually achieved. He wanted Carly to consume this pressure against her and not give up. He wanted her to fight against it and use it to her advantage. James called this the underdog mentality. When Carly was cut from the U21 team, she says in the book how she was furious about it and even lose sleep over it. James knew this and used it against her. When people are mad or something is taken away from them which they want to obtain, they go through this new phase of life. This phase is the fighting back phase. This is what James Galanis produced into Carli Lloyd. He said he could help her, but that she needed to do things his way without questioning why. His way included 1,000 sit-ups and 500 push-ups a day, running drills, agility drills, and tons of ball-focused training every day. Eventually, all of this paid off as she made it back onto the U21 team in better shape and with a better mentality. These stories she shared within the book are very important as she goes in depth of how exactly she overcome one of the worst moments in her life being cut from the U21 team and how she was lifted back up from her soccer trainer. I found stories like these to be very effective as we learn from them, as I'm sure Carly did, and we learn and pass them down onto others who may be facing the same challenges, which gives them a good perspective of how to cope with it. After 2 successful years playing for the under-21 scoring many goals, Carly made her dream come true and was called up to the United States senior team. She made her first appearance in 2005 versus Ukraine. Her first international goal came against Taiwan the following year. She played in the 2007 FIFA Women's World Cup where the United States finished third, and 4 years later in Germany she scored a bunch of goals helping the US achieve the silver medal. At the 2015 World Cup tournament at BC Place, Lloyd crowned a solid performance as team captain with a dynamic display of accuracy in the final match against Japan, in which she scored a hat-trick, 3 goals in the first 16 minutes to pave the way for the United States to defeat the defending champions 5-2. She was rewarded with the Golden Ball as the tournament's standout player and received the Silver Shoe for having tied the leading scorer with 6 goals and 1 assist. After the game, she describes in the book how she reaches out to people on her phone. She describes how she received 400 text messages after the game. Her boyfriend Brian congratulates her and says he can't wait to celebrate with her, while her family members say the same thing. One thing that stood out to me the most, however, is when she texted her trainer James Galanis. I found it quite funny how he said, "What's going on?" to her when she reached out to him, as her team had just won the World Cup, but I guess he was busy at the time. She then says to him how her team just won the World Cup and that she scored a couple of goals. He replies saying, "I told you you could do it." And what she said back impacted me the most from this book. She replies saying, "I know, and I'm not stopping now. When are we training next? I want to keep getting better." I could only imagine how tough of a player she is having that type of mentality after winning one of the greatest national prizes in the world. When all of her other teammates were getting ready to celebrate, she immediately goes back to the change room telling her coach she wants to train more. That's true dedication to the sport. I highly recommend this book to literally anyone, as it in fact covers many scenarios in life that impacts their mentality towards certain situations. I learned a lot from this book and liked it again due to the fact that I play soccer. However, it also taught me a whole lot of other life lessons outside of sports, which I believe anyone who is not an athlete can very much relate to. I would give this book a solid 9 out of 10, as it has very much in fact impacted my perspective on life and my vision for the opportunities ahead of me.